Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Baron. This is your Brain on Books, and I finally did it, guys. I finally picked up a Jack Ketchum novel. This is an author that's been on my radar for a very long time, especially books like Off Season, The Girl Next Door. Their reputation of being kind of just dark and deprived and just kind of breaking the mold of what you can and cannot do within the horror genre. I was aware of them, excited to pick them up, but also kind of intimidated by, what I've heard about those books. However, I came across this copy of Joyride by Ketchum at a used bookstore. Cemetery Dance, lettered edition, got it for crazy cheap. It was a no-brainer buy, also pretty short. I figured, maybe this is a good entry point. I'll give it a try someday. Well, I picked it up kind of right away and blew through the book. Very much enjoyed it, but also it was like, a car crash. You can't look away. It was kind of just absolutely insane what some of the stuff is in this book. And I have some opinions on it, and I have some opinions on Jack Ketchum as an author. But before we touch on those, what is this book even about? Now, this book follows a character named Wayne, and while out hiking, Wayne witnesses a murder. And he is so just excited and aroused and just enthralled by what he's witnessed, almost as if it's the greatest thing he's ever seen, that he actually goes and tracks down the murderers, takes them hostage, and while captive, he drives around the state and carries out some of these terrible, most vile acts of violence against people, just random people. I'm talking rape and murder and just anything that you can think of as the darkest aspects of a human being. That's what Wayne is doing. And he has these two characters with him that he's picked up because he thinks that they're going to understand him and relate to him and get excited. But the reality is, that's not the case. And they have a very interesting character dynamic across the entire novel, which I really enjoyed reading about. I think that was one of the most fascinating things about the book, is kind of the dynamic between these people who are also terrible that you suddenly kind of sympathize with and you're rooting for, versus this other guy who's also just complete garbage. So interesting dynamic. Now, there is another POV here where you're following a detective who's after Wayne, and that was a good choice by Ketchum because it actually adds some balance to the novel, because it is so dark and intense that getting through several hundred pages of that just continuously is a bit too much, even for me or people that are really into this style of storytelling. But the addition of the detective, like I said, was a smart choice by Ketchum. I don't know if he was intentionally trying to balance out the novel, but it worked, and I think it made it pretty easy to get through the entire story. Now, what are my opinions on him as a writer? Well, I like that he doesn't hold back, and I think that's fantastic, and it's good when authors take risks and they know what they're about, they're going to tell their stories the way they want to tell them, and that's exactly what you get from Ketchum. However, the prose style, and I know it's so silly to talk about prose when we're talking about horror, but in this instance, it's so bland and just sterile that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. I didn't love that because, prose tend to be straightforward when you're talking about horror, but a lot of the greats like Lansdale and King and McCammon, they have kind of a vibe and an atmosphere and a quirkiness to the way that they write that complements the story. And I didn't feel that from this Ketchum book at all. And maybe this is a unique sample because it is only one book by him that I've read. But so far, I'm not really impressed with that. Now, would I pick up more of his books? Absolutely. Now, I gotta be in the mood. I gotta be in the right mindset for something this dark. But when I am, I know that this is somebody who's gonna deliver, and I will be picking up A Girl Next Door, or The Girl Next Door, I believe. And yeah, looking forward to it overall. So tell me down below, have you read any Ketchum books? Have you read this one, The Girl Next Door, Off Season, any of the others? Did you like them? Do you recommend them? Let me know your thoughts. Until next time, see ya.